How you doing, viewers and perpetrators? I'm following a sort of pattern now. Once a week I'm uploading a video, so I've got to keep up with that. In the past week I have made some startling discoveries. In my search, in my quest to find out what is occurring to me and who's behind it, trying to gather the evidence, I've stumbled into a world where it's a major criminal enterprise. You know, the criminal element involved in this gangstalking is quite profound. And I'm sure that, you know, many of you see, look how they're harassing me. You can hear my phone vibrating now. They blast my phone with some form of jamming signal, and it jams the signal on my phone. And I have an application on my phone that sort of it alarms me and lets me know when the signal's being jammed. It starts vibrating and an alarm pops up on the screen and starts to go off. But anyways, back to what I was saying about this criminal element. I suggest that target individuals worldwide stop digging into what you're going through, because you're only going to get yourself into deeper trouble. You're gonna find yourself in a world where it's out of your depth. You're gonna find yourself in a world that you had no clue existed. Okay, you're gonna be out of your depth, plain and simple. Okay, these people that are involved in this are not like us. They don't think like us, period. And you cannot put yourself in their same mindset. Don't even try, because I've tried, but I can't. Now I'm still trying to accept and grasp the fact that humanity, actual groups of human beings, can do this to people. Now, the very reason why people are waking up and spilling all the bullshit and seeing reality for what it is, this is the reason why. I wrote this last night. It's only a little piece of it's only a small amount of writing, but this is what I believe. This is why. This is what's happening. It's because of the negligence of these people controlling everything. Because of their incompetence to hide what they're doing properly. They're becoming arrogant, ignorant, and blatantly open about their corruption. Now, people are waking up and seeing their reality because of the incompetence of the elite to conceal corruption by lower level management. And as a direct result of lower level management's incompetence to conceal their own corrupt business dealings and ventures, this has grown beyond the control of the shot callers. Okay, so the corruption is no longer under control. It's like a wild bushfire. It's just spreading. Okay, it's leaping from one bush to another, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, the entire system is corrupted from the ground up. I mean, there's not one organization, there's not one industry inside the system that's not corrupted. Everything is corrupted. And the more and more I've been digging in, the more and more I've been realizing that even religious institutions, even things that you thought that were noble and pure and clean, are corrupted. Every industry is corrupted. Okay? Everything's just become an industry. Everything's just about profit. Do you know what I mean? Lower your expenses, raise your average. That's all it is. Crunching numbers. That's all this is about, is crunching numbers. Okay, and for one specific reason, no one's going to help you. You know why no one's going to help you? Because we are in a paddock. We are on a farm. Okay, society is a farm. Okay, we all have a slot. We all have a place in society that's designated. And we're coming up to a point in modern society where you have to fight and prove that you earn that position, that you earn that slot. You know, if you don't work, if you're not pulling your own weight, you're gone. You're a weak link in the chain. They don't want you in the system. Someone else can come and replace you and make use of the resources that you're using up, and offer something back to this capitalist, Darwinian, bloody totalitarian state that's sweeping across the world. Okay, all of this is entwined. Okay, see all this corruption that's going on? The people right up the top, they're allowing it to happen. Okay, they're allowing all this shit to happen so they can step in and say, look, you guys are incompetent to handle things on your own. We're going to step in and take control over everything. You've ran it down to the ground. Now it's our turn. Anyways, I have come across so much information and evidence in relation to what I'm experiencing, okay? This is nothing other than state-funded harassment, terrorizing its own citizens, okay? It's a form of a means of coercion, or just to keep you chasing a wild goose because you're reaching an understanding about reality, about society, and they don't want you to get there. So they've set you on a wild goose chase to keep you distracted. Okay, so for about 11 years, this is how far back I've traced this gang stalking, but I do feel that it dates back further than 11 years. Okay, this is something that you've been carrying since school. Okay, if you want to think back long and hard about your past and certain events that took place, you will realize that all of this is related. Anyways, what is gang stalking? This is what gang stalking is. Gang stalking is a system form of control, excuse me, which seeks to control every aspect of a targeted individual's life. Gang stalking has many similarities to workplace mobbing, but takes place outside in the community. It's called gang stalking because the target is followed around and placed under surveillance by groups of organized civilian spies, snitches, 24/7. Many target individuals are harassed in this way for months or even years before they realize they are being targeted by an organized protocol of harassment. What happens during gang stalking is very similar to what happened to many innocent individuals in the former East Germany or activists and dissidents in Russia. Many innocent people in former East Germany would be targeted for these harassment programs, and then their friends, family, and the community at large would be used to monitor, persecute, and harass them. In Russia, it was used by the state to declare activists, dissidents, or anyone they thought to be an enemy of the state as mentally unfit, and many were institutionalized using this form of systematic control. The closest thing to gang stalking that democratic countries have seen before is MacArthurism, COINTELPRO in the counterintelligence program, and Red Squad programs. Red Squad programs were used for monitoring and harassment of various groups, and they have been in place for over 100 years. Now, we have evidence of this occurring in Australia in, I think it was in the 60s or early 70s. I'm not too sure off the top of my head. But my understanding is that ASIO had a right to conduct this sort of program on the Australian Communist Party. Now, I don't know too much about politics and communism and whatnot, but preferably I don't like communism for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, we do have evidence of this occurring. ASIO was doing it to uni students who were participating in part of the Australian communist movement, Communist Party. Anyway, back to what I was reading. Civilian spies are recruited from every level and sector of society, just like with COINTELPRO investigations. Everyone in the target's life is made a part of this ongoing, never-ending, systematic form of control and harassment. These actions are specifically designed to control the target and to keep them in line. These actions are also designed to destroy the target over years, make them look crazy and leave them with no form of support. Which, for the past year, I've been left isolated and I'm not allowed contact with my brother. You know, very rarely I see my mother. It's like I have to get into a major battle and a fight to get her to come over just to watch my dog while I leave my home so they don't come and bait my dog with rat poison. For the targets of harassment, gang stalking is experienced as a covert, psychological, emotional and physical attack. This is capable of immobilizing and destroying a target over time. For the state, it is a way to keep the targets in line, control them or destroy them. Excuse me. Worldwide programs of control and conformity have been used with equal success and lethality. What we are seeing now is a global coordinated and organized effort of control and conformity. Reports of gang stalking are not coming only in from the democratic countries, but they are coming in from other countries as well. The modern day systematic form of control could only be funded at a higher governmental levels. just like it has in other societies where these similar types of harassment programs have been implemented. It's all part of a system of control and conformity that has been in place for many, many years. A system of control with many local groups and appendages taking part. What are the names of gangstalking? There are many names for the form of systematic control and harassment under the gangstalking label. You will also find such terms as organized stalking, cause stalking, multi-stalking, community mobbing. But it's all part of the same harassment protocol. What many people from all walks of life are being recruited to be the eyes and ears of the state. People from all races, ages, genders, every sector of society that you can think of is a part of this civilian spies slash snitches include, but are not limited to general labourers, the wealthy, bikies, drug dealers, drug users, street people, punks, hip-hop culture, KKK, black activists, church groups, youth groups, your best friend, lawyer, policeman, doctor, emergency services, your neighbours, military forces, family, social services, politicians, judges, dentists, tradesmen, veterinarians, supermarket attendants, council workers, the postmen, religious leaders, care workers, etc. See groups and organisations at the foot of this article. So there must be a reference at the bottom of this article, which I'll get to once I finish reading the rest of this body of literature. Anyways, some of these citizens might be recruited via programs such as Citizen Corp, Weed and Seed, Citizens on Phone Patrol, City Watch. Many started with good intentions to help patrol and monitor their cities and neighbourhoods. Others are recruited via their families, others at school, others at work. Since every sector, class, race in society takes part, recruitment is multifaceted. Many do not understand or care that the end consequence of this harassment protocol is to destroy a person. Why would people participate? There are many reasons that someone takes part in this activity. Some do it for a sense of power that it gives them. Others do this as a way to make friends and keep friends. It's something social and fun for them to do. Many in society use the one-handed sign language to communicate, and it's very effective in breaking down race, gender, age, and social barriers. Others are forced or blackmailed by the state or the police into taking part. They are told that they are a part of a homeland or national security and being used to help keep an eye on dangerous or emotionally disturbed individuals. They see themselves as heroic spies for the state. Civilian spies can come from a variety of different programs such as Citizen Corp, Citizen on Phone Patrol, Weed and Seed, as I've read earlier. Others are just local thugs or informants who are already being used for their activities, and their energies are just diverted over into these community spy programs. For example, some may be given the choice of spying for the state or the police as opposed to going to jail. Others are told outright lies and slander about the target to get them to go along with their ruining the target's life. Many are, however, just average citizens who have been recruited by the state the same way citizens were recruited in former East Germany and other countries. It's the way the society is. People do not realize is that gang stalking is just one appendage of the systematic form of control. There are other forms of control used to repress and keep individuals in line. Other forms of appendages include, but are not limited to, mobbing, COINTELPRO, the buzzsaw, covert war, electronic harassment, etc., etc. These are just some of the names being given to a very old game that is once again being played by governments on their unsuspecting citizens. How targets are chosen? Well, it's common sense how targets are chosen, but I'll read it anyway. Targets can be chosen because of many reasons. They can be chosen for political views. They can be chosen for whistleblowing. They can be chosen because they belong to dissident movement. They can be chosen because they asserted their rights at work. They can be chosen because they made the wrong enemy. We're considered to be outspoken, unwittingly investigated something that the state did not want investigated, signed a petition, wrote a letter. They were deemed a suspicious person by a civilian spy snitch, and their names were handed over. It's becoming apparent that targets might be chosen for this systemic form of control if they are not already in some way a part of this controlled system. For example, many targeted individuals seem to be unaware that large chunks of our society are snitching and spying on each other. You know, the goals of this gang stalking. The goal is to isolate the target from all forms of support so that the target can be set up in the future for arrest, institutionalization, or forced suicide. Other goals of this harassment is to destroy the target's reputation and credibility, make the target look crazy or unstable. Other goals involve sensitizing the target to everyday stimuli as a form of control, which is used to control targets when they get out of line. These people also want to make the targets of this harassment vulnerable. They want to make them destitute. The secondary goals seem to be to make the target homeless, jobless, give them a breakdown, and the primary goal seems to be to drive the target to a forced suicide, just like what they did with some of the targets of the COINTELPRO. It's a useful way of eliminating perceived enemies of the state. You know who gets targeted? Targeting can happen to anyone in society. Primary targets in the past have been, but are not limited to, minorities, outspoken individuals, whistleblowers, dissidents, people who go up against large wealthy corporations, women's groups, single women, anti-war proponents, and other innocent individuals. The majority of the targets are often not aware they are being targeted in this way. When a target moves, changes jobs, the harassment still continues. Every time the target moves, the same lies and slander will spread and the systemic harassment will continue. Who takes part? And what are some of the techniques used against targets? Okay, there's classical conditioning. Getting a target individual sensitized to everyday stimuli. The target individual over a period of months or even years is negatively sensitized to an everyday stimuli, which is then used to harass them. It's used out in public to let them know they are constantly being harassed and monitored. Some examples of everyday stimulus that might be used include sounds, colors, patterns, actions, example red, blue, white, yellow, stripes, pen clicking, keys jangling, loud coughing, loud whistling, loud smacking or clapping of hands together, cell phones, laptops, erratic or strange driving behavior. You know, another one is 24-hour surveillance. This will involve following the target everywhere they go, learning about the target, where they shop, work, play, who their friends and family are, getting close to the target, moving into the community or apartment where they live, across the street, monitoring the target's phone, house and computer activity. You know, they also isolate you. This is done via slander campaigns and lies. Example, people in the target's community are told that the target is a thief, into drugs, a prostitute, a pedophile, crazy, in trouble for something, needs to be watched. False files will even be produced on the target and shown to neighbors, family, or storekeepers. You know, they also do noise and mimicking campaigns, disrupting the target's life, sleep with loud power tools, construction, stereos, doors slamming, etc. Talking in public about private things in the target's life, mimicking actions of the target, basically letting the target know that they are in the target's life. Daily interferences, nothing that would be too covert to the untrained eye, but psychologically degrading and damaging to the target over time. Search online for gang stalking, gaslighting, mobbing, street theatre, and follow the links. You'll see a lot of stuff come up, as I've mentioned in my previous videos. You know, there's also things that we suffer from our everyday life break-ins and street theatre. You know, we get flat tires, they deprive our sleep, they contaminate our food with drugs. You know, they throw dirt on your property. Just search on the gang stalking forums for lots more. You'll see so much that comes up. Just do your research, people. You know, this is a major cover-up that's occurring, and we've got the internet, and there's so many of us target individuals, coming out and complaining about exactly the same thing. So if it's a mental illness, are they going to sort of dub it the gang stalking mental illness because we're all experiencing the same symptoms? It's not. It's very similar to schizophrenic diagnosis, but a person with a medical background can see a very distinct line between both. I mean, through my research, I've actually seen that schizophrenia and gangstalking, people that are suffering from gangstalking and covert harassment, they complain about similar things, but there is a distinct line of what's going on, because the target individual is not complaining about everything and they're still in touch with their reality. As opposed to schizophrenic patients or people that are suffering from schizophrenia, their brain's going haywire and that they're misinterpreting their reality. And this is why they become paranoid, they become fearful, and all these reactions are misfiring within them. But with the target individuals, their brain isn't misfiring. It's being induced to fire up the way that it's being fired up. They put you into a fearful environment constantly to give you that fight or flight feeling, so you can raise your adrenaline. And another target individual was talking about this. I watched this video last night. You know, your brain releases adrenaline, and if you don't release that in a fight or just release that burst of energy, it can really rot your brain. It can just, that chemical goes back to your brain and poisons you, and that's when schizophrenia starts to form. So thank you very much, Phil Leak, I should say, for sharing that with us. Keep them coming, mate. Anyways, you know, these are some of the things that they've done to me. They're breaking in out of my home. I've got police event numbers for all of these things. Look, as you can see, these are all the important things. They even, you know, took money from my account. So this has been going on for over 11 years from what I can recall, and I've been in touch with the coppers with things that how can I say this? You can't report without looking like a fool. I'm not going to go and report someone pulling out my garden, a tomato plant in my garden, because it's just stupid. Don't do things like that, target individuals. Wait for them to do things that are enough for you to not sound crazy when you're reporting it, because this is exactly what they want. There it goes again. Can you see the phone vibrating? They're jamming my signal again. Every time you try and do something to counter what they're doing or make a video or whatever, they'll annoy you. Last night I was trying to sleep and people were just bringing my doorbell off all night for no reasons. They're still they're jamming my signal. As long as you can still hear that vibration on the screen, they're jamming my signal. Anyways, yeah, family are involved. I'm not going to hide it anymore, okay? Family are involved. What they bloody put me through, you know, is just evil. Evil. When they forced me to a state of homelessness, they forced me into to living in my van.